What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another Procreate tutorial, where today I'm going to show you how you can create this ship design, where we're going to go ahead and follow suit with my previous tutorials kind of theming and add in these repeating lines, which just gives you a nice artistic kind of flow to it. Now of course all of the requirements for today's design are available linked in the description down below. It takes you over to a post on my Patreon where you can grab all the requirements, the canvas size, the palette, so you can follow along with the exact same colours. All the brushes are built into Procreate, so you won't need anything else. And while you're over on my Patreon, check it out, because that's where I post 3 exclusive tutorials every single month to my Patreon supporters. And I've got a catalogue of over 140 exclusive tutorials over there at the time of recording. And with 3 more added every single month, catalogue just continues to grow, so don't miss out on all that content. Anyway, with all that said, enjoy today's tutorial and let's get started. So once you've created your canvas, as always, we'll go up to our actions, we'll go to the canvas tab, and we will add a drawing guide. Edit that drawing guide, and we'll set it to a grid size that is 1/4 of your canvas size. So if you're using the same canvas size as me, it'll be set to 500 and hit done, and we'll just hit done for a minute. Then you can go ahead and lay your design out against mine and see how I'm proportioning things using the grid as that kind of measure. Let's then go ahead and on this empty layer here, let's go to our colors, and in the top left we want to grab this dark blue, and our brush wants to be set to the option of calligraphy and the monoline brush. Doesn't matter what your brush size is, just go ahead and draw in a circle, hold your pen at the end and pop one finger on the screen to get a perfect circle, scale it up so it doesn't fall off the edges. And then if you grab your cursor and you use the option in the bottom left of snapping, you should be able to drag your circle into the center, hitting the orange lines there both vertically and horizontally, which lets you know you're perfectly aligned in the center. And if you drag the blue to the outside edge, you've now created a frame. So we'll carry on with the waves and just make our way backwards. So we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. You want to drag it underneath your frame. Then we want to go ahead and use the exact same dark blue, and we want to go back to our brush and again make sure it's the monoline brush. Now for this you may want to add some stabilization. So if you tap on the brush and go to stabilization, you can see mine's 76 and 50. That just gives me some lovely smooth lines, and you may also want that too. And then you just want to go ahead and start creating some interesting wave-like shapes. Keep it kind of simple and fun. As long as you go edge to edge, you should be able to drag and drop your color. Now, if you haven't, just make sure you go ahead and just go from your start point that you can see off to the right and your end point that you can see again. Try not to make too much of a dot like I just did, and just drag it off to the left and then drag and drop. That way you've essentially created a line that goes side to side, and then that way you've blocked it in. I'm going to block in all the waves, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer, drag it underneath. I'm going to go to my colors and we'll move across this top row. So we'll go to the second color on that top row, and then from there we'll create another wave. And again, use my proportioning and sort of layout as a bit of a guide as to how to sort of scale things. So there's another set of waves. Let's go ahead and then create a new layer. Drag it underneath again and repeat. So we'll go to our colors, third color on that top row, and you kind of want to have a bit maybe like left and right just to keep it nice and interesting and fun. But ultimately you can create whatever type of scene you like. I'm happy for you to experiment, have fun with it, and of course make sure you go edge to edge. It's always the start line that I always forget. I'm going to go back to my layers, create a new layer, drag it underneath, go to my colors, grab the fourth color on that top row. We'll bring this one over here, and our kind of final point is a maximum height of around about sort of halfway through almost of that second row up. So you don't want to go too sort of mad too early. You want your waves to kind of progress nicely. I'm going to go all the way off to the right there, hopefully. And then that way I can get some sort of leaning off to the left, and then I can bring them back to the right. Again, new layer, drag it underneath, go to your colors. We now want the fifth color on that top row, and then we're going to bring that in again from the right hand side. So you can see I swept up and then I swept down. So I'll sweep up again and just try and sort of level everything out a little bit more. So I'm going to come in and just duck in behind there and then drag and drop. And of course I've not done it edge to edge. There we go. Let's then go to our layers, one more new layer, drag it underneath, and let's go to our colors again. Sixth color on that top row. And final layer now. Now at this one you kind of maybe want to think about flattening it out potentially, or adding an excessive amount of waves. It's totally up to you. I'm going to probably bring this in. So taking a look at these edges, they both sweep up. So I kind of need to sweep sort of down in a way just to get me started, and then just run it like a little bit like this. There we go. And of course I'm going to triple check this time that I can run from the edges off to the right and then drag and drop the color in. There we go. Awesome. So that's going to be my set of waves. I'm going to leave it probably like that. You could always tweak these later on. You could either raise them or lower them. It's totally up to you. Let's go ahead and start sort of adding in the nice texture to all of them. So let's just carry on where we are. Let's create a new layer. Let's tap on it and clipping mask it to that back set of waves. We want to go ahead and do two things. We want to add the wave lines and then a bit of a shadow. So we'll go to our colors. Now for each color that you had here of the layers, you have a corresponding highlight tone. So we are at the back, which means with this color. So we need this one as our little highlight color. We want to go ahead and go to our brush. We want to be in the option of inking and we want to use this brush here. You can see the name of it on screen. Just quickly regarding this brush, this is a message technically from the future. Tap on this brush and make sure you go to stabilization and set your streamline to about sort of 64% and your stabilization to 70. That will give you some lovely smooth lines that are quite easy to kind of keep nice and repetitive to one another. It's really important that you do that. And then when you're done, hit done. And size wise, because we're a little bit further back, you might want to be around about, say, the 3% range. Try not to make it too small, and then just follow the flow of your waves. So for example, I'm going to come up and along here, and then I'm going to run it down, and you don't have to just do the whole line over and over again. You know, I can run this line across here, and then occasionally I'll get a little bit lighter towards the bottom. This wave here, I'm going to bring it in, and I'm just going to allow it to get fairly close to the wave below it, but kind of maybe blend in perhaps. But you ultimately kind of make two waves with your flow there. And I'm going to go ahead and just add in a couple of lines just in the stray little corners that I've got over here. Lovely. Now, the other thing, of course, we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer. We're going to tap on it and clipping mask it. And we're going to drag it underneath. So it needs to be the middle layer between these three. You want to go to your colors and grab this color here, top left of the palette, which is the same as the frame. And then your brush wants to be set to airbrushing and the soft brush. If you set your size to something maybe around about, say, maybe even smaller than that, around about, so it's say 8 to 12%, just at the bottom, you just want to darken up the tiniest bit, just add in a bit of shadow between your layers. And you can just perfect that in certain areas if needs be. You know, you could darken it up quite a bit towards the bottom. And then the other thing you want to do is then go to your waves that you created above, your little lines. You could mask it or you can erase it. So tap on your eraser and just use airbrushing and the soft brush. And then set your brush size to around about, I reckon about 7% should do the trick. You just want to kind of fade them out. So I'm going to look for a bit of a fade out, say like here. Fading out that lovely highlight, allowing the shadow then to kind of sort of take over a little bit. And then I'm going to just fade them up and around there. I'm going to fade that one back a little bit too. And I just want to kind of create a little bit of separation almost between all the waves and the tiers of them. And also allow that dark tone to kind of sit in there. So you end up creating this kind of effect. If you were to mask, it would just allow you to undo that if you needed to later. But I don't think it's that tricky of a thing to potentially have to reapply. So that's what we're going for. Now, what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and set the kind of final design for this as well. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and swipe our wave lines to the left and duplicate them. The bottom one out the two, tap on it, alpha lock it, go ahead and go to your colors and just double tap at the bottom of the disk to select black. Go back to the layer, tap on it and fill it. Set the blend mode from normal to the option of soft light and then grab your cursor. And if you tap at the bottom down here, outside of the box of the shape, you'll nudge it down a pixel. And every time you do, you want to take a look and just see if you can add some more. But if I tap and 3 times total there, and then tap on my cursor, you can see now you've got a little bit of a shadow underneath those lines, which just gives it that final effect that we're going to go for today. All of those steps you now repeat for the rest of them. We'll do it together, of course. If you want to, you can pinch those layers together potentially, like so. And then just carry on from there. It's a brave move, but you know, just roll with it. This layer here then, let's create a new layer, tap on it, clipping mask it. You could even tap on the layer again and create another new layer so you've got both your layers ready to go. And let's repeat the steps. So the top layer, we go to our colors, we grab the highlight tone for that layer, which is the 5th column middle color. brush wants to go back. Now, if you go right to the very tippity top and you go to recent, you'll see all of the 3 brushes we've used for today. Just use the same brush again, that triple, well, that's like a multiple line brush. I've got the brush still set to about 3%. It is pressure sensitive. I could actually nudge it up to 4 and get rid of that marker of 6. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go to 4. You can make them gradually get a little bit bigger as they get closer towards you. Now think about your sort of waves. You could have them all flow in this way, or you could be a bit rogue and kind of have them all kind of go at different angles, you know, like something like this, and create an additional little flick up at the end there, just to make the water go all over the place. We'll do this sort of similar process over here. We're going to swoop in and then get, I'm going to try that again, but just come down a bit more. There we go. And then I'll just bring that in like so. Just fun, interesting kind of design, much like the landscape that I've previously done here on YouTube, which you'll be able to see on screen now. So if you like this one here today, you'll love that one after this. So let's finish this off. We can go to our eraser. It should still be set to the soft brush under airbrushing, so we won't do that again, just so you know. We'll just skip and make sure we know we've left it at the same brush. Going to blend out the lines at the bottom, just giving a bit of a fade out to them. You don't have to do this sort of to 100% fade out. You know, it's just a little bit of separation. And then go to your layer below. Go to your colors and grab the color in the top left of the palette. Brush should now be the soft brush again. And we just want to add in that little bit of darkness. It's almost like a paper cutout style design in that sense. We got a little bit of a shadow in there. Now, to be honest, my shadow there was probably a little bit too strong, and I didn't particularly enjoy the angle of it either. So I'm going to wrap that shadow around and just fade it into that corner. And then here, where I've got a big, lovely, low hanging area, I'm going to darken that up and then just fade that in. There we go. It's got some lovely shadow in there. And then let's do that 3D effect with the line. So you swipe the lines to the left and duplicate them. Tap on the bottom one, tap on it and alpha lock it. To be honest, you could probably even get away with using the same color we're using, but we'll just set it to black just so it's all the same. Let's then go back to the layer, tap on it and fill it. Change blend mode from normal to the option of soft light. And then grab your cursor. 1, 2, 3. And then tap on your cursor when you're done. And you've got that lovely drop shadow. And we repeat. So we'll pinch those together. We'll move up a layer. Create 2 new layers and clip them both. The top layer, go to your colors. We want the middle color there in the 4th column. Brush wants to go back to our line brush. You could make the brush a pinch bigger if you need to, up to say 5%. We carry on again. Now, you can make these waves, by the way, completely sort of smooth and fun and simple, or you could really make them quite complex where you have like multiple waves and like flows of the waves. Like that's just a very quick example just to show you like that coming in and then that coming in. It's totally, again, as I keep saying, totally up to you. I'd always love to give you the option as the creator to do whatever you want. It's your piece at the end of the day. You can decide what it looks like. So I sort of encourage you to do so if you can. Or you just follow suit with the simple kind of like one set of lines all the way across like that. Now let's go ahead and repeat the steps. On this layer, we go to our eraser. Soft brush is still selected, and we just fade that out at the bottom where we want to fade it out. So I'm going to fade it out into that corner, I think, and then just fade that around. Lovely. We'll go to our layer below, go to our color, top left of the palette, brush wants to go back to soft brush, and again we just blend that out with a little bit of a shadow. I've gone up to 10% only because this is quite a large area. I'm going to kind of blend that darkness into that darkness a little bit, and then I'll just leave that like so. And then I'm going to go to my layer for the line work, swipe it to the left and duplicate, bottom one out the 2, tap on it, alpha lock it, go back to your colors and set it to black, and then go back to the layer, tap on it and fill it. And then change the blend mode, normal to soft light, cursor, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 because it's a little bit closer now. And then go back to your layers. If you want to, you can go ahead and of course pinch all of those together and move on. So we're halfway through the waves. Let's go ahead and create a new layer, and clip them both. Now please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I know so many of you watch these videos are not subscribed, and I know they fall into your home screens and you may not even realize you're not subscribed. So don't miss out on the content. Make sure to subscribe and you'll be supporting me as well. That'd be amazing. Now on this top layer, we're going to go ahead and go to our colors. We're going to grab the middle of the third column. Brush wants to go back to our line brush. I'm going to leave the size because it's pressure sensitive anyway, so I can just make it a little bit heavier if need to be. I'm going to swoop in from this corner and go all the way across. So I'm going to come all the way across like so. So that's really dictating the kind of flow of the water. And then I'm going to go ahead and maybe actually just go ahead and sort of split that off a little bit so I can create like a bit of a gap in there almost. Lovely. Then we want our eraser. We want to blend out the bottom, don't we? So set that to about 10%, blend that out. You know, be brave in some areas if you can, just to actually, you know, get rid of some, maybe even on the edges of the frame as well. Lovely. Then we'll go ahead and go to our layers, go down a layer. We go to our colors and we grab the shadow tone, top left of the palette, brush, soft brush. And again, we shadow in there. You can really kind of shadow it in on the edge as well. Into a dark sort of corner here will look quite cool because it will just blend in with the frame that we created at the very beginning. And then I'll do the same over here. I'll kind of blend it in almost. Then we'll go ahead and we will go to our line work, swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Bottom one out of the two, we tap on it, alpha lock it, go to your colors, double tap at the bottom to select black, go back to the layer, tap on it and fill it. Change its blend mode from normal to soft light. And again, we grab our cursor. We did 4 last time, so we'll do the same again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap on your cursor when you're done. We've got 2 more to go. So we'll pinch those all together. We'll go up a layer, 2 new layers, tap on it, clipping mask it, tap on it, and clipping mask it. The top layer out of the 2, we go to our colors and we grab the middle of the second column. Brush. I want to go back to our line work. I'm going to keep the size the same, it's no problem. And now I can take a look at this one, see which way I want to kind of run the lines in. I'm going to start maybe up here, perhaps, just to kind of add in a little bit of additional flow in there. And then maybe from there, just sort of spread out those lines a little bit like this, flowing them down. Lovely. Let's then go to our layers. Let's go ahead and grab our eraser, Let's blend out the bottom. Doing that little bit of separation between all the layers. Let's then go to our layer below. We'll go to our colors and change it to the one in the top left of the palette. Your brush wants to be set to the soft brush again. Now just be careful with this one not to add in too much shadow because the color we're about to add is the same as this front set of wave here. So I want to be kind of light in here to avoid it kind of becoming one big mess. So I'll do it in this corner, and to be honest, I'll just let the fade out of the erasing do the majority of the work there. I want this solid kind of line here. So let's go ahead and go to our line work, swipe it to the left and duplicate, bottom one out the 2, tap on it and alpha lock it, go to your color, double tap at the bottom of the disc to select black, go back to the layer, tap on it, fill it, change the blend mode from normal to soft light. And again, we'll go to our cursor, we'll move it up and away, and we will go ahead and tap 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tap on your cursor when you're done. Then go back to your layers, pinch them together. Let's do the final layer at the front here, but we only need to create 1 new layer. So we tap on the dark waves here at the front, create a new layer, tap on it, and clipping mask it. Go to your colors and grab the middle of the first column. Go back to your brush and go to the line one. And then we'll add in our final set of waves. So you want these ones to be quite sort of interesting and impressive because they sit right at the front. So try your best to like, mess around with different flows. That's quite sweet. Let's move that along and into that. And then that one. Lovely. That just gives me so much like texture at the very front just to take a look at. And then it just flows backwards. Now we don't need to add a sort of shadow layer because if we go to our eraser and we just fade this out anyway, it's going to of course already be the shadow color underneath. So, you're good to go straight away. We'll go to the layer, swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Bottom one out the 2, we tap on it, we alpha lock it. We go to our colors and double tap at the bottom of the disc to select black. We go to our layer again and tap on it and fill it. Change the blend mode from normal to soft light. Now this one might be really, really subtle, so you may not even see a change, but if we go to our cursor, we move out of the way, we tap 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then tap on your cursor when you're done. It's just worth completing the whole sort of process, otherwise you just, you might end up with one that looks ever so slightly different and it's hard to understand why. Next up, we're going to move into the background. So we're going to go to our layers. We'll pinch those last lot together. And if you want to, you can swipe from left to right on all of your waves. You could even merge them together if you wanted to. You can be super brave and do that. I'm just going to group them together and rename the group and call them waves. We'll collapse that down and then it's nice and organized. We will create a new layer and drag it underneath the waves. So we'll hold down on the layer if it wants to work for me and drag it underneath. While we're here, let's change our background color. We'll grab the yellow in the middle of the far right column, hit done. We'll then go ahead and on this layer, we'll go to our colors. We want to go ahead and grab this color here, top right of the palette. And we want the soft airbrush, so we want to change our brush back to the soft airbrush. Set your size to around about, say, 13 looks okay. I think you could go a bit smaller. If you go ahead and actually go to the layer, tap on it and use the drawing assist, which is the grid system, you just want to go ahead and just go left to right, just behind those waves to introduce a bit of blue, and I mean just a little bit to kind of fade out the water into the sky in the distance. Now I'm going to keep doing this because I may in fact grab my cursor and use freeform and just scale that up a tiny bit like so, and then tap on my cursor. So it's still just underneath that halfway point, as you can see, but it blends out now into the back of the yellow. Let's add a bit of color towards the top of the design as well. So we'll create a new layer. Go to your colors and grab the red in the bottom right of the palette. Soft airbrush again. Probably want to be around about, say, 20% marker. The first thing you want to do is kind of zoom out to the point where you can create like a lovely smooth arc, blending it into the yellow. And then as you get progressively towards the top edges and slightly down on these edges in the corners almost. I know there is no corners, but you know what I mean. Over into the sort of side there, you kind of want to press a little bit firmer. You do want to have quite a nice red framing to the top and then just blend it out. So you may want to make your brush size even bigger and then just very lightly blend over that yellow to make sure you definitely create a nice blend into like some oranges in the middle. You get something like this. Let's then go ahead and create a sun. So let's create another new layer. Let's go to your layers and grab the middle of the far right column. Brush, change it to the monoline brush. It's already part of your recent brushes, of course. We'll go ahead and just draw a circle in the middle. Hold down at the end and pop one finger on the screen and scale it up in size to say around about there. Drag your color in and just grab your cursor. Just move it into the center so you hit that orange line. Then what we'll do is we'll change the blend mode of this to add. It will go white, that's fine. Then swipe it to the left and duplicate it and grab the bottom one out the two. Grab your adjustments, Gaussian blur, and swipe from left to right until you end up with a lovely glowing sun. So around about sort of 23%. And then tap on your adjustments when you're done. We're going to do our sky. So we're going to go ahead and add in all the curly lines to that as well. So we'll create another new layer above the sun. You want to go to your colors. All you want to do is double tap in the top left to select white. You want to go back to your brush and use the brush again of choice. Now if we tap on this, we triple check that we've got a good amount of streamline and stabilization already set and hit done. So then what we're going to do is let's just set our brush size to 6% or thereabouts. It's totally fine either way. And you just want to go and have some fun now in the sky. You want to create a few lines to sort of set the flow. And I imagine this almost like wind in the sky. So I'm going to start here, for example, and I'm going to create like a swooping line into like a curl. I love these curls, but you just want to make sure that they're nice and smooth, like a little something like that. At the top here, I'll go ahead and create another line that just straight off the edge of the screen, a little something like that. Lovely. And then down here, let's go ahead and create like a curl. I'm going to go ahead and just redo that one. I want it to kind of come in a little bit more like that. There we go. These are my sort of starting lines. And I think, to be honest, I could probably go ahead and wrap one more main line at the top here. Now from there, it's a matter of filling in the rest of the screen. So for example, this line here, I can follow that and just let that whip off onto the side. So I can come down here and kind of just follow suit with the line and just follow it out. There we go. I can go ahead and follow this line around here too and just sort of tuck in some additional lines under there. And it's just a matter of just creating like a really fun, repeating pattern. You could do the same on the inside as well if you want to, if you can just about manage it. Like, it's quite a tough one. Or you come all the way in from here and just wrap it around and just allow it to fade out. You don't have to be super hard with your pressure the whole way round. I'll draw in this line here as well, and I might just allow that one to dictate now the rest of the flow in this space. Maybe we'll do one more in there. Here at the top, let's go ahead and just wrap that round. There we go, wrap that round as well. Lovely. And then just round the back of this curve, maybe a few more lines just for pattern. And then maybe here I actually curve the line outwards and do a different type of line in that direction. Really, honestly, just having fun and just keeping it really lovely and simple. I'm going to start in the center and make my way out from there. In fact, I don't think I can. I think it's too tight of a space for me to sort of negotiate a 3-point turn almost in there. I'm going to go ahead and just draw in some lines that run towards that. There we go. And I'm keeping my pressure nice and light. That's really important. I reckon here in the center, I could maybe just wrap a line or something in there. And that's going to be all of my skylines. It's just a matter of just having fun, add in the wind, what I imagine, and the flow of the sky. They could be clouds. It's just up to your interpretation as to what you think it looks like. Now, just like before, we're going to go ahead and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. The bottom one out the two, just tap on it and invert it, because now it's set to black. You change the blend mode from normal to soft light. And while we're here, let's equally go ahead and tap on the white lines above and change that from normal to soft light as well. That would just make it a lot more subtle. Now, it disappeared technically for a second, but if we tap on the black lines, we go to our cursor, and again, we zoom out. Same principle, just tap 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5, and then tap on your cursor when you're done, and you should end up with these lovely 3D looking kind of flowy, wavy lines in the sky. Now, that's up to you whether or not you duplicate the white lines and try and get them a little bit stronger in color. That's totally your preference. I'm going to delete it for a second, and maybe, in fact, I'll probably duplicate it and set it to around about, say, 50%, just to find a nice in-between. And then I've got my skylines all done. It's now time to add the boat. So let's go to our layers. We want to be above our sky. So let's swipe on all of these layers here from left to right, all the way down to our background color, and group it together. I always rename it just so it's nice and organized. Call it sky. Collapse that down and collapse the group down. Now, if I tap on this group and create a new layer, it will plop itself right in there. We want our color to be set to this brownish color at the top of the third column from the right. Your brush wants to be set to the monoline brush. We want to go ahead and set our brush size to the smallest size you can make it, down to that little 1%. And you want to start by drawing in the kind of main part of the boat, which is going to sort of somewhat be a straight line into kind of here, slightly at a tilt as well, will look quite nice and fun. I'm then going to go ahead and just create the underside of the boat first before we detail the rest in. So I want to create like a swoop to it. That looks okay. We'll bring that all the way around towards the back over here. So I've drawn a line just so I can attach to it in a second. Then I'll go ahead and create a bit of a diagonal line there up towards the sort of the rear of the ship. Bit of a curve to it, and then a bit of a curve here too, and just swoop that down. In fact, that might need to come down and then a little bit of a swoop like that all the way down. I should have attached myself to the line at some point, so there we go. I can drag and drop the color in. From there, I'll just create the front of the boat as well. So we want to create like a long protruding piece of wood, of course. And then from there, we can just add in some pretty minor details, to be honest with you. Just a little sort of straight line up. We'll do a straight line all the way across, because it is, of course, a straight line. And then just add in little sort of additional bits of wood, somewhat evenly gapped. Doesn't have to be even. There we go. We'll add some additional detail up here as well, like another line and then another line and then another barrier, almost like shape. We'll add in some gaps in between, followed by what is, I imagine, of course, is the little block for steering the ship. So you could add in like a bit of detail here, some little details like that. And then we're going to add in the main poles as well. So we're going to go ahead, and I reckon that needs to run around about, say, let's go to about here and a bit further back. So I'll draw in a straight line down. It needs to be a little bit of a tilt, of course, because I've put my ship at a bit of a tilt. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw in the other one. And that one can sit around about, say, here. I'm going to draw that down, a little bit of a tilt to it again. Lovely. From there, I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. I want to go ahead and create a sail. Now for the sail, you kind of want to create like a bit of a flat-like shape, but it needs to be curved on the edges a little bit just to show the wind grabbing it. And then we'll go ahead and I think we can run across, we'll create a curve on this side and then just kind of link them together at the top. Make sure you link it all together so you can drag and drop your color in. And once you've done one sail like that, all we're going to do is be a bit cheeky and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Grab your cursor. We'll use uniform and just scale it up a tiny bit for the main sail in the middle. You could distort it if you feel like it needs to be, you know, for like perspective and also just uniqueness per one. It's totally up to you. And then I'm going to swipe that to the left and duplicate. Grab my cursor. Use uniform again and scale this one down in size perhaps just a little bit and a little bit lower down like that. There we go. And then swipe that to the left and duplicate and move it across to the other one. Move it across up to here, scale it down maybe at the top so I have like some variety, so a smaller one. Although if you scale one down, don't scale it back up. So grab another one and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Grab your cursor and just move that across like so. You don't want to scale things up in Procreate. And likewise, I'm going to grab the original one at the very beginning there and just drag that across to here. There we go. And tap on my cursor when I'm done. From there, we're going to go ahead and pinch all of the ship layers together like so. Then we're just going to draw in some ropes to attach all these sails to random points of the ship. So don't overthink it, just like a little line here and a little line there will look nice. You can attach it, of course, to the pole. And of course, the monoline brush is extremely large. In fact, while I'm here, I'm going to also add like a little sort of viewing sort of point up there, of course, to the very, very top. You know, you don't have to overthink it. I'm going to maybe draw in another line there from the back of that one there. Another one into the ground, another one down into here. Yeah, logistically it probably doesn't make too much sense, but I don't really mind. It's just a little bit of fun. A couple of lines off from the large ones to connect to the poles that we created will look nice. And that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and maybe just add in one new addition. Let's go ahead and just create like a bit of a, I'm going to somewhat create like a bit of a curved line, say to there. And then I'm just going to create some sort of like net-like shape almost like here. So just join them together and then maybe just a tiny little one that maybe runs towards the middle like so, just to add some detail. There we go. Now, talking of detail, we're going to go to our layer. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to tap on it and clipping mask it to the shape. Your color wants to be set to the lighter tone in the middle of that same column. We want to go back to our brush and go back to our line work, of course, just like before. I reckon around about 4% brush size, maybe smaller even. And then for your sails, which is the color that we're working with, that's way too big. We want to be down to about 2%, to be honest. You want to go ahead and just for each sail, create like a flow. So like a flow of the lines inside the sail, like that, for example. For the next one, the large one, I'm just going to go ahead and go a bit of a diagonal angle. I'm going to follow across the sail. A little something like this. Lovely. And then for the bottom one, I'm going to go more in a vertical fashion. There we go. Some interesting, just fun bits of sail. Do the same over here. So like for the top, I'm going to go ahead and do it in a vertical way this time. For the middle one, I think I'll stick with the slight diagonal angle to it, a little bit of a curve to it almost to kind of show the curvature of the sail. And then the bottom one, I'll go maybe a bit more of a horizontal angle just to sort of add in some variety to it all the way across. While we're detailing, let's go ahead and just create another new layer, tap on it and clipping mask it also. Go to your colors and grab the bottom of that same column. And then just add in some wood-like lines to the ship as well. So you may want to sort of draw them like and hold your pen down at the end, but you know, you don't need to. You just need to add in a bit more towards the front and then a little bit off towards the back as well. You see, if you press really, really lightly, sometimes it doesn't even register. Now your ship here just needs a little bit of tweaking. So we'll grab our eraser. We'll use the soft airbrush as we were using before as the eraser. We'll just blend out these lines towards the bottom that we were just working on. Maybe a little bit of a wrap around at the front. Then go to your layers and go to the sails and we'll equally add in a bit of a shadow to them as well. It will add sort of 3D volume as well, so about a 2 to 3%. Just blend that round on this side, like so. Let's blend out the bottom right area here. And then at the very bottom here, we'll blend this one out as well. So you can see I got rid of quite a lot on the bottom one, and that's fine. Just blend that one out, blend that one, and then blend that one too. And of course, you're all on the same layer, so just be careful. But it just adds a little bit of volume and sort of curve to these areas, which I think looks quite smart. Now, the other thing you may want to do is just make sure if you pinch all of those layers together and you grab your cursor, you may want to make sure your ship is centered just like so, just for some nice positioning. So make sure it is pretty much like there. And then I can tap on my cursor when I'm done. You may or may not also want to move your sun further up now, potentially. But if you're done, you can go up to your actions. You can turn off your drawing guide, pinch your 2 fingers, go full screen with 4, and you end up with today's finished design. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. As always, make sure to tag me in your finished creations wherever you decide to share them, like Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe for weekly Procreate tutorials. And if you want even more tutorials from me, you can come and join me over on Patreon, because that's where I post 3 exclusive tutorials every single month to my Patreon supporters. I have done for years now, so the catalogue actually sits at well over 140 exclusive tutorials at the time of recording. And you can get access to every single one of them when you join. And as I mentioned in the video, if you like this video here on YouTube, you will love this one on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.